right, and welcome. This is Mr. Pacina streaming. Today's topic is Photoshop, how to use it, what it is, and hopefully getting you started in your learning journey today. So I did give you guys a bunch of things related to schoolwork and all that in the past few streams. Today is mostly skill based. If you're at home, you're like, I did all my work, or I kind of don't want to do it. Uh, and getting you out there trying to see what you're interested in. Hopefully you have an interest in Photoshop because that's the topic today. What you see on the screen right now is just an example of what you can be making. Just checking to make sure everything is good. But this is an example of something that I made right quick. No, I didn't make it entirely on my own. I will show you right now of this is what I found, and this is what I did to it. Similar with this one of this is what I found, and this is what I did to it. This is called photo merging, and no, it's not just this. You can do it with pretty much anything out there. I'm going to show you today the importance of doing it in order. The program that I'm using right now is Photopea. It is online based. That means that so long as you have honestly, you don't even need Chrome, just any web browser, and type in this website and it'll take you right there. Because I know that a lot of people right now are like, do I need Photoshop for this? No, you don't. Because I know that Photoshop is very expensive for a lot of people. I myself get a educator discount, but even then, that's like 30 bucks a month, which is something I would rather use for other things, but I get all those things for it. So if you're like, I don't want to pay the Photoshop that much, then there is an alternative. It is free. It is for anyone. And I'm going to show you right quick on how to get started. I'm getting a text right now. It's saying that you guys can't see the URL. It's right here, guys. Photopea, photo and PHOTOPEA.com. If you just go to this website, you'll be able to do all of this online and more. This is like very light Photoshop. It has a lot of the things you can do in Photoshop, but there's a lot of things that are restricted here because, again, this is online. Photoshop, it's like a gigabyte's worth of things you can do in here. Like, it has a lot of the same tools, but there's a lot of things in here that you're not able to do. But for everything we're doing today, no problem, you'll be able to get started. You don't even need to make an account. Honestly, let's find some base material we can use right now. Let's say that you're looking at, I don't know, chibi anime characters. No, it doesn't have to be chibi. I'm just looking for something right quick. And notice that some of these have a different kind of background right here. These are the kinds that you want. If you put in a PNG at the end, it'll give you mostly those that we're looking for right now. Some of these have a white background. Hopefully it works. Nope. So some of them you're noticing that they have a white background here, but they have a checkerboard background back here. We're looking for something that's large. Notice that this one is only 304 by 310 pixels large. For pixels, all you need to know is that the more you have, the better. Now, yes, that sounds biased, and it is. That just means that I can work with it more, because when as you guys know, when you zoom in too much, things start to get blocky, things start to look like a little bit pixelated. So the more pixels, the better. For this, we can go to Tools, Size. I recommend anything medium or higher. I'm going to go with large. So right now, these are only large PNGs that should be giving me right now. This one is 2000 by 2014 by 2689, and honestly, that's pretty good. Like, honestly, anything that's bigger than 1,000 you can work with. Again, that's just my biased opinion. Honestly, you can work with medium. Let me see. I'm gonna pick one of these at random. Let's go with that one. It's by Marcia. So to get this, there are a few ways to get it. One is open image in new tab. Hopefully that works. Yeah, it's the full image. But if that didn't work, you would have to go to the website. You might need to download it, like right here. I'm not going to do all that because it lets me do this. And there's an interesting thing about Photopea. If you click on the website right now, you copy that URL, go over here, File, Open from URL, and paste it there. That might have been a bit much for a few of you. If you right click and click on Paste, and you place it into a new project, you could even put it into a new project, but since this one is blank, we're just going to put it into a new project. Click OK, and it's going to import it automatically from this. If you had to download it, like let me download this one right quick, saying it's downloading. Now it's downloaded there. Let me get a blank one. You would go to File, Open, or Open in Place. Click on the download and click on Open, and it opened it up exactly the same way. Same as that. I'm going to close that one out because I want to work on this one. This is our test to see if the background is actually transparent or not, because sometimes these things lie. They're just lying to you. Sometimes the checkerboards are able to be taken off, sometimes they're not. So this is a quick check to see if this is transparent or not. I would just make a new layer down here on the bottom right next to the trash can. There's something that says new layer. Click on, let me see which one of these it is. The paint bucket tool. How you get to this, if you have the gradient tool right now, you would just click and leave it pushed until you get the paint bucket. Then click on the paint bucket. Let me get rid of that. Now I have black and white options. I'm going to go with white. So this one at the top is the one you're painting with right now. I have the paint bucket selected. I'm in layer 1, and I'm going to drop it in. Notice that everything just became white. That's because I made this layer over here entirely white. I'm going to click and drag it to the bottom. Oh, there's a problem right now, because this one is not actually transparent. So importing it from this website right now does not make it transparent. So I'm going to open the other file that I downloaded and check that one using the same method. Going down here, new layer, paint bucket tool, white is selected, painting it on, and there we go. Notice that when you downloaded it, it did make the background white. Again, file, open from URL works a lot of the time, but it's not 100%. This is just a very quick way to see whether it's transparent or not. If it's transparent, great. You're able to do a lot of things to it. If it's not, no big deal. It will take a lot more work to get it transparent. It's just you basically having to erase that background. And it will be a little bit tricky because you can't get too close to the character, or you just deleted part of the image. So like I said, it's not impossible to fix. I'm just removing all the things. Just a very quick pass through, getting most of it out. Oh, I made a mistake. Control Z undoes your mistakes. But since I had everything selected, like I'm going to leave that. If I click like that, oh, I made a mistake there. Control Z. So I can just undo that. If you once you click and let go, that leaves it as one command. Control Z just undoes your last command. Like let's say I remove everything here. Control Z, everything's back. I'm going to delete part of it and then do one more command. Click and drag. Control Z undoes that one. Since I let go, that was one command. Control Z undoes that. That was a different command. If you actually I did want to delete that, but you undid that. Control Shift Z does make you go forward. You can also do it over here. Edit, step forward, go forward, or step back, undo. Simple as that. So since I am able to use this one, I'm going to just use this one. Because like I said, this one will take time, erasing all the background, getting all this checkerboard pattern out of here. This one, if you notice, it still has it, but you don't see it because it's actually transparent. Like this is the original copy. However, Like, I am not a fan of this over here. So what I could do is just literally go to eraser. Shortcut is just pressing E on the keyboard, eraser, and erase it. And it's gone. Apologies, checking some text. And you notice that I'm zooming in right now. If you click on Alt and use the scroll wheel, or click on Control plus, it does let you zoom in, but you're like, oh no, I'm in too deep. Control minus, Control 0 to reset, or just use the scroll wheel to back. Let me get rid of that. And you're good. Again, Control plus, zoom in, Control minus, zoom out. Or if you have a wheel on your mouse, you can leave Alt pushed and zoom into that area specifically. Zoom out. You're like, I want the entire thing. Control 0. Simple as that. But now let's get into it. Like, I have the character. I want to do stuff to the background because it's just white. Well, first thing we want to do is duplicate this layer. This background is going to be our background. We're not going to do anything to that. And we just want it there in case we want to, like, I hate everything I did here. I want to go back to the beginning. Like, we don't have to download it and re-upload everything. That's just going to be our master copy. What I like to do is non-destructive work. So you just saw me like delete something. Like, very rarely will I ever delete something like outright. Like, I deleted that from the background and the background copy when I did that. That's taking something away. In Photoshop or in Photopea, it's very easy to add things. It's very easy to manipulate things. But once you take something away, it's kind of tricky to get it back. So again, you want to work non-destructively. That's where all these layers come in. Like, you're seeing me make layers right now. I don't need them right now, so I'm just going to delete them. And I'm going to turn that invisible. Let me see. Sasuke, if I remember correctly, is a fire element user. So let me find some fire I like. I'm just adding fire and PNG. That way it gives me a transparent background. Some of these do say transparent background in here. So if you can, like, just add that to the search. Sometimes you see it like this, where it looks like it's transparent. We don't know. We're going to check it. Let me see. Let me say fire ring. There we go. I like that a little bit better. This is what I'm going to put in the background. And I keep getting text. I should turn that on. I should put that on vibrate. So let me see. I like this. I like this right here. Let me see if I can open that image in a new tab. And let me try doing it this way. File. Open from URL. Do not click anything down here because this is the last one. You have to delete that. Paste your new URL. And you have to click on current project. This is important. If you click on new project, it's going to open up in a new project. You want it in the project you're in right now. So click on current project. It's loading. It's getting all of this info and it's transferring it to Photopea immediately. Well, not immediately, but you know what I mean. There it is. Did not put it in the same one. Let me try that again. Open from URL. Control that. Current project. Okay, there it is. So if you notice, it created a new layer by itself. And there it is. Let me see. There it is. Come on. Let me click on this move tool. Its shortcut is V command. Again, right here. And you notice that I'm able to move it right now, but I'm not able to make it bigger. So just make sure you have this layer selected. Click on transform controls. It's going to be an option right here. I'm pretty sure that my logo right now is blocking that, but there should be a checkbox that says transform controls. Make sure that's checked. And you would make this bigger or smaller using that. If you hover over these bottom right arrows, you're able to click and drag it to make it bigger or smaller. This is a trick because right now you see that it's getting all like skinny and you don't want that, or it's getting too wide and you don't want that either. So if you click on shift, on the shift command on your keyboard, it'll make it stay in focus. It'll make it stay aligned. Sorry. It'll make it stay on the same proportions. So I want it to be in his background. You notice that it's in front of him right now. Don't worry, we'll fix that. But I want that to be at least that size. I'm going to check to see if I like it where it's at right now. So this is how you move this to the back. You would click and drag it underneath the copy that we have right now. There we go. Now it's in the background. Now it's in the background. I'm going to try to place it somewhere like in the center. Right around there is good. And remember that there's just a blank background in the back, like that right there. I don't really like that. So I want to change it into one entirely different color. So how you could do that is, like I said before, just click on the paint bucket, click on this right here. It'll bring up this color picker wheel up here. And you can just click on a color that you like and click on OK. And now it's a part of the image right there. I don't like doing it that way because it's too annoying to do every single time. What you can do instead is go to Layer, New Fill Layer, and click on Color Fill. It'll bring up the same color wheel, and it will make you repeat the same thing of like pick a color that you like. Let me go with down here. Actually, let's go with just this standard red. Click on OK, and now that color fill is all red. This is why I prefer that. Oh, right now there's a thing that just happened. Let me show you how to fix that. So right now you notice that the color fill is in between the background copy and our fire ring. So we fix this by, again, moving the color fill down, because that's in the background of our background. That's our main background color. We have the ring there, and then we have the background copy at the top. This is at the top because it's going to be at the top of the image. We're making layers. Literally, think of it like a sandwich. Sasuke's at the top, then there's the fire background, then there's the red background. Simple as that. It's just in 2D. Now, the reason that I like doing it like this is because we can easily click on this mask right here. Click on the color fill, and we can change it to a different color. Like, I didn't like that. It's too bright. It's confusing me with the red over here. No problem. I can make it darker. And it shows you a live preview of what it could look like. So it shows you automatically what your changes are doing. Okay, yeah, I like that a little bit better. This background, however, this fire background isn't perfect because, like, if you see over here, like, it was clipped. So this is how you fix that. Remember how I said I don't do a lot of erasing? This is where it comes in. So if I click on this eraser tool, I'm going to zoom in for this because, again, I don't want to erase anything but this. So I'm going to focus I'm taking everything away and just looking exactly at this fire icon. This brush is too big. I'm going to right click and change the size of it. And like just click and drag it sideways and it'll tell you how big you're making it or small you're making it. Click. Sorry. Yes, this is a smart object right now. We need to rasterize it. If you notice that smart objects will have a little icon right here. You right click and rasterize. That's going to say that Photoshop can edit it. So now I can do stuff to it. Like that. It's not perfect, but it's looking a little bit better. At least in my eyes. Like, I didn't like how it was showing it before, where like you could clearly tell that it was cut out of something. Like that one right there doesn't look very good to me. Like, I would make it a little bit sharper. And this is all in the wrist, like just key control. There we go. The rest of them look okay. Control 0 to put it back to the entire view. I'm going to see how it looks. And since I don't want this layer anymore, I'm going to right click, like this original layer that's all white that I just used to check the background. I'm going to delete it, and now it's gone. You might get something that says, do you really want to do this? Yes, you do. So now this is very quick. We went from just having Sasuke be in the background with something over here. Wonder if I have that. There it is. We went from having this to turning it into that. That's just something very quick to get you started in Photoshop. Yes, you can do this with any picture. It doesn't just have to be Sasuke. This can be a picture you already have of a family member or something. Like you want to insert yourself into a scene from a famous movie, you can do that. You're just going to have to make your everything else transparent. Think of it like a green screen effect. You're adding yourself into something. This is what I'm doing. I'm adding Sasuke into this scene right now. And there's definitely more you can do to it. Let's go one step further and add some different layers right now. We're going to make new adjustments to this. If you look down here on new adjustment layer, you click on this, it looks kind of like half a moon. There's a bunch of different options you can do to this. There's a bunch of different things you can play around with. For this, I'm going to make sure that I'm up all the way at the top, and I'm going to go with brightness and contrast, because usually that's one of the first things you want to mess with. Let me see. There we go. Like this is the original. This is where he's at right now. I'm going to make him pop, like stand out from the image. I'm making the entire image a little bit brighter or darker. There we go. Like for me, this looks, nah. There we go. A little bit better than what it was. If you're like, I don't know what the original looked like, you can always turn it on and off. So this is the mask. Turn it on and off. Like that's it on. That's it off. And you're like, let me do a little bit more or a little bit less. How's it looking? How's it looking? And it looks okay. And you're like, well, it works for Sasuke, but it doesn't work for the background. Can I only apply it to Sasuke? And yes, of course, if you hit Alt and you click on that same layer, it'll apply it only to the layer under it. So like you just noticed that it's only changing Sasuke. It's not doing anything to the fire. Let me show you in the same example, but only with the fire. So new adjustment layer, brightness and contrast, and I'm only going to make it do it to the fire. Click Alt, click on the layer, and let me see. You're noticing how only the fire is getting like way brighter or way darker. See? That's happening to Sasuke, everything's happening to the fire ring. And you're like, let me check it, yeah, that looks okay. So usually you want to edit things separately. If you would edit everything all at once, that would be called a master slide or a master layer. You're editing everything. This is usually one of the few things you do because you should be pretty much done at that point. Like this one, this is a levels layer, new adjustment, go to levels, make sure that it's at the top. If you were clicking somewhere down there, again, you can just click and drag it up. There we go. And let's see what we can mess with. Oh, nope, too much. Nah, I'm not liking messing with it. Like, to me, that looks better. So I'm just going to delete that. Leave it there. And you're wondering, what more can we do to this? Shadows. This is like you just drew a great picture, but it has no shadows. How do you give it more depth? How do you make it stand out? This one already has some shadows, if you notice it right there, but there's not a lot. So what we can do is start adding to this. All we've done so far is merge things, but now we're actually messing with the original. So I would create a new layer because, again, I want to work non-destructively. And if you notice, that layer did do something here. At least I saw something. But let's go to a brush, clicking on B, or just hitting this brush right here. I'm going to change the opacity. Well, let me show you what happens at the start. I'm going to make it really big so you can see. The hardness is set at 100%, size is 390, and I'm going to set it to black. So right now my color is black, and this is what's going to happen. I didn't want that to happen. Control Z to undo it. What just happened is I used a brush stroke to try to add shadow to it. And that's not going to work because, well, first off, the hardness is set to 100%. It's way too big. Well, actually the size of it doesn't really matter. The main problem here is that the opacity is way too big. You want the opacity between 10 and 20%, usually no more than that. Let me show you what happens. You're seeing that? Like I'm adding shadow to this. I'm making it slightly darker on what I click and drag on. And you're like, I wanted to add shadows to Sasuke, but it's adding shadows to the other stuff. This is what you do to fix that. Remember, to add only things to the background of Sasuke, I would click on Alt, and I would click on him. That did change something because this layer I put in between the brightness and this other one. That's my bad. But now it's only affecting Sasuke. So if I show you right now, see I'm going over all the way over here, but it's not doing anything. But if I go over here, it is making it slightly darker. Let me make this opacity a little bit bigger. That way you can notice it. Like see? It's only messing with Sasuke. Now what I do right now is show you hardness and why it matters. So if I go like this and zoom in, you notice that that brush stroke is pretty sloppy. Like you can see exactly where it's going right now. And if I turn the hardness all the way down to 0, can you really tell where? Can you really, let me see, undoing all of what I just did. So let me leave that up for comparison. And this is exactly the same thing. I'm just moving a brush stroke. The only difference is that I turned the hardness way down. So now you can't really tell where the brush stroke is. This one you can tell immediately. This one you can't really tell. The one you want is a low hardness. Usually I stick with 0%. If you want to go a little bit higher, that's your prerogative. But I like sticking with 0. Let me undo that and show you what it could look like. Hardness down to 0. Let me make it a little bit big. That way you have a wide view. Control 0 to get you the full screen. Let me add it over here. And now you're noticing that it has a little bit more depth. Like you're noticing that there's a shadow over here. And I'm just going over it one time. This is because the opacity is like really high. This is why you want it set to low. Well, let me show you why you want it set to low. If you have it set to high like I just did, like that's going over it one time. If I try going over it again, it's going to make it way darker again. If I try going it over again, and you see my point, like it's getting way too dark. And my shadows aren't being able to be controlled. So let me undo all that. And let me set the opacity to what I want it to be, which is about 10%. And now I'm going over it. You might think that I'm not doing a lot, but so long as I get all the area that I want it, right there, and I go over it one more time, I'm making it darker. A little bit by little bit, I'm making it darker. Click and drag to add, and again, and again, and again, and again until you get what you want, which is good. Like I like it there. Like that's as dark as I want it. There. You're like, oh, it's actually over here. I want a little bit of darkness. Like, no problem. Just make that a little bit darker. And like, yeah, that's good for there. That's enough. I don't want to add any more to that. And if you notice, as I said, we're working non-destructively. So that's everything we did right now. So I had to make everything else invisible, and I had to unlayer that. Like I put it as its own layer so you can see it, but that's basically all I did right now. Like that's all the shadow that I added to this picture. So again, just seeing Sasuke right now, like that's all I did. You might notice that yes, I did go over quite a bit. There's no problem because remember, our background is like transparent. So you won't ever see this extra dark. Like even if we go over here, yes, you see it. Oh, sorry. So like, don't worry about that because once we put it with that, then it's only going to affect this. Sorry, I forgot I put this as its own layer. So just make sure you click on Alt and click on that to make sure that it only affects Sasuke. And now we're turning everything back on. And there we go. That's Sasuke with a little bit of shadows, a little bit of brightness and contrast, a fire in his background, and a color fill. And you're like, I still don't like that color. Double click on that color fill, click on that color fill, and change it. Again, it can be whatever you want. It's a bit of an emo, so I'm going to leave him with black. There we go. And don't challenge me on that. Yes, Sasuke is a bit emo. Like his entire family got massacred by his brother. That'll mess anyone up. So yeah, that's about it. That is a very simple tutorial on getting started in Photoshop. There's a lot more stuff that I'd like to show you because there's a lot you can do with this. So one of the things that I have done with some of these skills is adding color. It's called colorization. And there's a lot of tutorials out there. Like I just showed you a very quick tutorial on photo merging and editing, adding shadows, things like that. Like there's a lot you can do with this. I just wanted to bring up to your attention that Photopea, like yes, I did all of this in Photoshop as well, just to show you that you can. But it was a lot easier here in Photopea just to get started. It's very powerful, well, for what it can do. And it's very simple to get started as a beginner. All you got to know is the little ins and outs and you'll be fine. You can also just like experiment. What does this do? What does Vibrance do? So let's find out. I turn it up and it's affecting everything. So like up here, if I put it at the top and I don't make it like just for Sasuke, then it's affecting everything. So like Vibrance all the way up. One good way to test to see what it does is if you turn everything all the way up or all the way down. And you're like, oh, it's affecting the colors. And you're like, do I actually want this? I don't know. Let me play with it. It's affecting it live. And you're like, what about saturation? What does that do? Oh, look at that. Maybe I want it black and white. I don't know. And again, you can always turn it on and off to see if what you're doing is making it the way you want it. And you're like, yeah, actually, that does look a little bit better. That looks a little bit washed out. And that, I like the pop of the color of the blue that just happened right now. And the red in the background. So like, notice the background. It goes from a little bit pale orange to a little bit of a, like a brighter orange. So yeah, I like that. What else can I do with this? Curves. No, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it to you guys to test it out, see what happens. This was about 30 minutes of just me editing and trying to see what I can do to this. Of course, like I said, this is just one main picture and then a background behind them. And of course, the plain background. There's three things that I did. Excuse me. There's three things that I did. Number one is have the subject. Again, your subject can be anything you want. I just picked a random chibi anime. So let me see what's good right now. One Punch Man, PNG. So like, let's say I wanted to work with One Punch Man. Yes, that would be a perfect thing to work with right now. I'm going to do one very quickly just to show you how quick this can happen for you. Saitama face. I'm going to copy that. File, open from URL, and it's going to be a new project. Put that in there. It's loading. It's saying it's transparent. I'm not sure if it is. So let's find out. Make it there. I made a layer all white and I'm gonna put it under it. Yep, it's transparent, so we can work with it. Let me just leave that there for now, just so you can see what the things I do to it. So yeah, I can definitely mess around with that, add things to it. Let me see, Saitama, what do I want to add to him? Anime food, PNG. Let me go with this. It has some things right here. I don't love it. Yes, I could remove that. Oh, Yeah, that one looks good, right? Open image in new tab. Hopefully it's also transparent. We're gonna find out. Like I said, the open from URL works for most of the time. Again, make sure it's current project. Otherwise it's gonna open it in a new project. And it opened it in a new project anyways, every time. File, open from URL, current project, okay. There it is. So again, I'm gonna select the move tool, which is V. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. And remember, if it's coming out all wobbly like this, hit shift, leave it click, or leave it pushed as you scroll down. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm gonna rasterize this right quick so I can do things to it. And yes, it is also like transparent. Like that's the original that was uploaded here. But again, with the test of this layer right here, making it all white, you see that it is actually transparent. So no problem there. Let's deselect it right here. And now we're able to move it. If you're noticing like, why is this thing still like this? Yes, of course, I can also move Saitama, like to be slightly closer to this. But its text box is getting a little bit cut on the side. No problem. There we go. Yeah, I like it. So I would just go back here and turn off transform controls because I noticed that there were some borders there. And you're like, that looks alright. He would say okay to this. Let me try adding, and it doesn't just have to be one image. You can add multiple images. Like, let me add this too. Open image in new tab. Copy that. File. Open from URL. And there it is too. Now I have multiple things in here. And again, remember that if it's getting, you want the main character to be at the front and everything else is in the background. So I want to move that slightly to the side because I want to get this anime in the shot. There we go. Let me make him, turn transform controls back on, making him a little bit smaller. Leaving shift clicked so that I can have this entire okay in the bar. And there we go. Looks alright. Not the One Punch Man you were expecting, but it is what you got. So let's say, again, this all white background is a little bit boring. So I'm going to go to layer, new fill layer, color fill. I want it to be purple. Click OK. And now it's all purple. And if you're like, actually, I don't like that purple, just click on this image right here, or this color right here, that's purple. Click on it again, and now you're able to change it live. Like, that looks all right. Simple as that. And you're like, oh man, down here it got cut off. Can I make this entire like image smaller? Yep. This is the crop tool. Click on C or just click over here for the crop tool. And it'll let you like cut things out of the image. You see down here that that Saitama is actually cut off from the image. Like there's some purple underneath him and I don't want that. So I'm going to very carefully select it to make sure that it's like not taking anything away. Like, let me go through this. Yeah. This will cut off that side of the purple. It will take a little bit away from Saitama, but I'm okay with that. Like, it'll cut off some of this top over here. Oh, there's a problem. Like, if I would have pressed enter, then we just lost some of this right here. We just lost some of the picture. So Control Z to undo it. Control 0, get that back in frame. Sorry. So I undid the cropping. Let me try that again. So just pay attention to how big you make your crop. So like I'm going to go over. There's no problem going over. It's going under that's a problem because going under is what takes away. So again, I went over here just to make sure I don't take anything away there. I'm going to make this a little bit less just to make sure that it's not taking anything away. It looks fine. It looks fine. And you're wondering how I'm scrolling sideways. If you leave control pushed and you use the scroll wheel, it lets you scroll sideways. Down is right, up is left. Simple as that. So let's find out. Control 0 to reset it and press enter. Notice that I just cut off some of this. Let me press Control Z to undo that. So you see that. Pay attention to the sides and the bottom. Control Shift Z to redo it, the cut, and now it's gone. Notice that it did cut off some of this top. That's because when I cropped it, I made sure that this is too much at the top. I don't want it. Well, there we go. So to me, this looks okay, and I would go with it. Again, that was one very quick thing you could do. Of just send this to your friend, make this your background. If you're a streamer, you just got yourself a something to wait for banner or something like that. And again, I did this with this real quick. Each of them only took me like 5 minutes, because again, I'm only doing some basic adjustments to this. For this one, I just found a Naruto that I liked. Again, like that looks okay. This one's going to be my main background. This is what I did to it next. I just removed that layer right there. Added me some water. This water that I got was like way too tiny. Let me show you what I mean by that. So like this water that I got was like this. Whoops, I'm rotating. Was like this small when I got it. It was like that. And I'm like, I kind of want this to be behind him. So what I did was just make it bigger. Thankfully, it was a big file that sent to me. Like this was like 2000 by 2000 image. So that was pretty good. Like I can make it bigger and it's not going to you're not going to notice it very quickly. So I just put it behind him because I like the way that it like made that circle around him. Like he's about to use a Rasengan or is trying to make a water dragon or something. And then I changed the background because like to me this looks a little bit flat. I wanted a little bit more color, so I added brightness and contrast to it. Maybe I could have added some vibrancy or saturation to it. And then I just added a color fill because I'm like, I don't want that plain background back there. I'm like, go with orange. And yes, if you already have like a color on them that you want to like add to the background, you can absolutely do that. Let me double click this, color fill. And this is a special tool called the Eyedropper. It is the shortcut I. If you click on the Eyedropper and you hover over the color that you want, like let's say you wanted to make this color the background, like his pants, the background color, you would just click on that and it would do its best to find it in the color spectrum. So like that shade is now exactly that shade. Notice that it just changed to the same color right there. You're like, what about his hair? Yep. Again, I still have the eyedropper selected. I'm just selecting the same color. Similar as that. And I actually do like the orange better, so I'm going to leave it at that. But if you want a specific color from a different picture, you can always just use the eyedropper tool. Copy that color, and then set it as that. Alright. This has been a lot. I will be adapting this into a sort of tutorial on YouTube later on. Just know that you can always reference this video if you just want to get started. But this is a very quick tutorial on how to get started. Oh, I say quick, but that was about 40 minutes. But if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Send me different things you want me to do. I am thinking in the future I will give you like an actual photo that we're going to be like, that I'm going to edit live for you. And I'm going to see if Photopea does a good job on editing that. So I've mostly been doing this sort of stuff on Photopea. I haven't done any serious like Photoshop work on it, but I'm going to see how much I can test it. So again, this has been Mr. Piscina. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day. And let me see. So I'm going to put up all my information on the screen right now in case you want to send me a message, send me an email. I really should add the email on there as part of one of the things that you could do. That's my bad. But if you go to the Facebook channel, You can always just instant message me. Twitter, Instagram, I check them daily. Just let me know. Again, this has been Mr. Pacina talking, streaming, teaching. Let me know what other things you want to learn. So like, I have been thinking of showing you guys some stuff on the animation side, but that would require some hardware to do. I'm going to see if I can find some online things you can animate. There should be some out there. So again, this has been Mr. Pacina streaming. Thank you. Have a good day.